lot of jokes have been made about the wife burning the toast or the bread in the oven. But when it comes down to it, that's the way Yah prefers it. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, Day 2 of the Torah portion Vayikra, and he called. We are in chapter number 2 of Vayikra, and we'll begin with verse 1, which reads, "And when anyone brings a grain offering to Yahweh, his offering is to be a fine flour. And he shall pour oil on it and put frankincense on it. And he shall bring it to the sons of Aaron the priest, and he shall take from it his hand filled with fine flour, and oil with all the frankincense, and the priest shall burn it as a remembrance portion on the slaughter place, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance." Later on, it says that we are in verse 13, "Season with salt every offering of your grain offering, and do not allow the salt of the covenant of your Elohim to be lacking from your grain offering. With all your offerings you bring salt." The mincha, the grain offering as it's called, is one of the more difficult ones to try to understand and put a tag on here. It is the bloodless offering. If you go back to Bereshit or Genesis chapter 4, verses 3 and 4, speak about Cain and Abel, both bringing an offering to Yah. Now, it's been made somewhat of that Abel's offering was a blood offering, being a firstling from his flock, while Cain's offering was of the produce of the ground. And it is thought then to be because Cain's offering was bloodless. That's the reason it was rejected. Not necessarily so. They are both referenced in the text. There is mincha offerings or tribute offerings. So it does not necessarily have to be a blood offering as a firstling from the flock. It just so happens that Cain worked the ground, Abel worked the flock, so they brought of what they were working in. That's appropriate. The issue at hand for Cain's rejection in his offering most likely was a status of his heart, that he was merely going through the motions and not really paying attention to what he was doing. He was just doing it out of routine or obligation, and that was about it. Good reason to be rejected. So when we look in chapter 2 here, there are a few things that we can learn from this. One is that this offering basically is representing a tribute of thanks for the day-to-day goodness of our Elohim toward us, the things that he supplies and nourishes us with, without which life would just kind of fall apart. So we're worshiping him for holding us together, keeping us going. And so this is akin to the prayers that we offer. Father, I just thank you for, food and raiment and water. Having gone through a period of time at one point without power for 9 days due to a storm that came through our area, I can tell you that there are many times I take a hot shower, a hot one, and not a jug of cold well water pulled up by a bucket, that I thank him for hot water. And we take that for granted. When your power's been off and you flip a light switch and the lights come on. Small things that we take for granted. But Father, I thank you for electricity. Thank you. And so we bring to him our thanksgiving. Mincha is taken from the root of mem, nun, and hay. Again, it's a gift. It's a tribute. And it is made up of grain, of oil, of frankincense, and of salt. There is no leaven involved here, and there's no honey. There's no puffing up. I thank you, Father, that I've got the best hot water of anyone, or that my lights shine the brightest, etc. But rather, we don't puff ourselves up. Neither is this about flavoring and enhancing the taste buds of the tongue. And this is not to be done there. There's no honey involved in any of the offerings, by the way. And so grain is the staple of human diet. At least it used to be. Grains today are a little bit more compromised, and we'll leave that for others to discuss. But it represents our very dependence upon Yahweh for our existence. Oil is that which is poured into the wounds, and it's for comfort, it's for healing. Frankincense represents fragrance and aromas and joy and fullness and healing and satisfaction. Salt is referenced in verse 13, connects us to the covenant. Yah supplies our needs because of the covenant. It's not out of just pity or, well, you look hungry here, let me give you some food. But rather, Yah chooses to operate with us, to relate to us primarily through covenant. That's why it's important that we not just be someone standing on the earth and crying out to the heavens, please help me, but rather we have a covenant relationship with the Most High. We walk with Him in covenant agreement, rectified and empowered, brought to life by blood, even by the blood of His own Son, Yeshua. And so we have a determined covenant that we can stand in. As we present this to Him, we're also glorifying and exalting Yeshua. All of this represents Yeshua as well. Oil represents the set-apart spirit of the Most High. The Torah is the word. Fine flour is the finest, the purity, the excellence of the word. Yeshua, who is then acknowledged to be the very bread of life. Salt purifies. It gives endurance. It cures. It is immutable part of the covenant. It's enhancement. It brings to life flavor. It enhances things for us. And then frankincense represents the prayers of the saints that Yeshua stands, hears, and then intercedes for us, ever living to make intercession for us. So as one brings this offering, he can just bring it as the flour. He can create a baked cake, an unleavened thin cake, or he can put it in a griddle and make griddle cakes of sorts. And these things are brought, they're broken up, and the salt is applied, all the parts are there, the frankincense is sprinkled over it, and the priest takes a part of it and he puts it onto the fire. The remaining portion, whether it's flour or the actual baked bread, is for the priest and his family and his sons. But it's the fact that this bread then is put on the altar. It's consumed. It's burnt. So Yah's portion is burnt bread. We normally would reject that. This bread's hard. This bread's been robbed of its flavor, but that's what Yah receives. Man does not understand the qualities of the heart of Yah. Yah yearns and desires from us things that we just simply don't get. So not only then is it the bread that represents His blessings to us and declares Yeshua before us, but it's also us. As I bring this to Him, I'm acknowledging, Father, it's your goodness and your provision and your tender mercies and your enduring supply toward us that has kept me to this point. I'm here because you're good to me. I'm here because you meet my needs. So when I put this on the altar, when I give this to the priest to offer for me, I'm acknowledging your goodness has presented me as having well-being, and my well-being is then offered back to you. So let's give ourselves to Him today and be consumed before Him today. even being burnt, because he likes it that way. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, shalom.